We've been talking about Star Wars Outlaws for a few weeks now. It's terrible performance, it's awful AI, but apparently we've been lowballing it. This will be a disaster of epic proportions, so great that it's going to make the launch of Cyberpunk 2077 look like a peak release with no issues. And you know why? Well, pay attention for the next few minutes to That Game Plays. Hi folks, it's CC here once again with the amazing, incomparable, the velvety voiced Loki. How's it going, Loki?
It's going good until I saw this whole thing about more Star Wars Outlaws.
Oh. Well, no, I mean, we could talk about Star Wars Outlaws all we want because it is gold, but it's not gold for the reason they want it to be. The game certainly shouldn't be gold at all, and we're about to reveal some stuff that, well, may make you faint. There is so much money you have to invest into this game that, well, of course, you have to pay for the game, which is ridiculous, but there's something else you're going to have to pay for. Hardware. But first, we're going to start off with, well, with this, which is more clips surface showing, well, just how awful Star Wars Outlaws is. One shows stormtroopers firing point blank into the side of a building, which we showed during a recent live stream that we did on Wednesday. But look, that's not why we're here. We're here for a whole other reason. What is that reason? Well, it's going to cost you an arm, a leg, a kidney, and probably your firstborn to pay for a system that's going to run this with the titanic resolve that you want in a video game. But we're going to start at the bottom. We're going to go over to Tweak Town to look at what's going on. Ubisoft actually recommends a GeForce RTX 3060 Ti at the least, rendering at 720p to play Star Wars Outlaws on PC. Loki, you're a brilliant dude. What do you think?
This is insanity. And that 720p is just so you can bump it up to 60 frames per second. That is insane. They want you to spend the money on a 3060 Ti so you can play it at 60 frames per second on a 720p. That's insanity. That's absolutely crazy. How are they supposed to do this on consoles?
Well, okay, and for those of you who just don't understand the jargon here, you're going to have to spend a lot of money to make this thing work well. This means that they didn't bother to optimize the game, right, Loki?
Right. Yeah. This is almost $1,000 you're going to spend just on the card alone to play this game.
Yeah, and not only that, we'll set that aside for the moment. You also realize that when it gets to consoles, this thing won't look good. This is gonna seriously. I was joking about the Cyberpunk thing, right, when it launched, but this has the same worse. This has worse problems than Cyberpunk 2077 on console. What do you think about that?
I really don't think any of the Xbox S's. They're not going to be able to run this even at 30 frames per second. I don't see how. It's going to have massive issues. It's already having massive issues, as we saw stormtroopers firing into buildings. They don't know what they're doing. There's clipping issues. There's graphical issues. There were drops in the promo play when they were playing it on different game testers. And these are the professional ones with beast computers. They're the ones who get the free $5,000 rigs so that they can play these games at work. Even they were having drop issues. I don't understand what Ubisoft is thinking coming out with a game like this, knowing that we just had the Cyberpunk debacle a couple of years ago, and this is going to make it look like a Sunday picnic.
It is actually that. Look, I know a lot of people might think we're overstating it. We're not. We're going to give you some numbers here in just a moment, especially dollar numbers that are going to, well, cinch up your belt, kids, because you're going to need to eat a lot of diet meals to make this work. Star Wars Outlaws right now, this is coming out of Tweak Town, saying Star Wars Outlaws, a new open world game set in the iconic universe where you take the role of a smuggler from the studio behind The Division. I don't care what that is. Sounds like a winner. It sounds like a winner. However, with recent gameplay deep dives and previews being mostly lukewarm and Ubisoft asking for extra money to play the game just a few days early, the hype for what should be this month's biggest release doesn't seem to be there. I wonder why. We've talked about it Wednesday. We talked about it at length, but we'll get into it. We'll get into it. So on the plus side, the PC version sounds technically impressive with real-time ray tracing and the new DLSS 3.5 ray reconstruction tech, dramatically improving the image quality on an RTX rig. True, although wait till you see what that takes. However, with Ubisoft updating the official storage page with the full PC and hardware specifications for Star Wars Outlaws, you're going to need some serious power to play this at 1440p or higher. And we have the specs and what it'll cost, so stick around. Hang on. The recommended specs, which cover running the game at 1080 at 60 frames per second with the high graphics preset, require at least an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3060 Ti. That's a monster. Or AMD Radeon 6700 XT. But even then, DLSS and FSR needs to be set to quality, which means rendering the game at 720p before the upscaler actually does its thing. So it's like underpowered at every level, which means it's not optimized. But if you increase the resolution to 1440p, you're going to need, this is going to cost you some money, an RTX 3080 or an RTX 4070 or a Radeon RX 6800 XT. That's if you want to get to 60 frames per second, which is optimal for most gamers, so you don't miss out on things. It's twice as fast as what you would normally see most games running on a console. So, then we'll get to consoles in a minute, kids. But this is one of those weird Loki. I don't even understand. I mean, we're not even to 4K yet, and we are using monsters.
We are, and if any gamer will tell you they want resolution before they want quality, they are not going to dump it down to 1080p just so they can turn the quality settings up a little bit. They're going to want to run it at 4K. They will run it at medium system specs so that they can get that 4K quality image on those big expensive monitors that gamers buy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting in front of a couple of them right now. I've got one of these ridiculous wide ones from Sam. I've got one of these Odyssey monitors, right? It's this 52-inch, curved monitor, and I would be losing my mind if I couldn't run it at full frame rate at full size, right? So this game isn't going to work out for somebody like me. But look, if you run this thing at giant, if you go to 4K resolution, you're going to need that RTX 4080. You're going to need that top end card or a Radeon 7900 XTX, which I think right now, those are the flagships. Both of those cards are the flagships, according to the article, for the current generation of PC right now. So that will make the game most visually impressive, and it might make it actually look halfway decent, despite the fact that they beat the character with the ugly stick, which is a whole other conversation in a video you can go check out right up there. But based on the system requirements, the game is set to be a performance benchmark for quite a while, for no other reason than it's not optimized in any way. So if you try to play this on even a PS5 right now, when this game comes out, which is soon, I don't have high hopes for it. I think this is going to make the issues that you had with Cyberpunk 2077 look like, I don't know, a small frame drop once every 5 to 10 minutes. I think that's what it's going to seem like to anybody who's looking for quality. But look, we went and did the research because we went and looked at all of these systems, right? Minimum, recommended, high, and ultra. We want to give you this understanding of what it's going to cost you to get to the place you want to be so you can play this at 4K with ultra graphics already set to quality, which means all of the scaling is done. Everything is as crispy as it's going to get, which I'm worried, Loki, is going to be disappointing. But you have all the things. I'm going to start to show everybody in the audience what they are. And here we go.
Right now, we are looking at the minimum requirement to play this game. This is minimum 720p. This is 30 frames per second. This is as low as you can go. And you're looking at $1,203. This was all done over on Newegg. All the prices are here. All the parts are here. We've got all our parts. We've got our video card. We've got our PSU. We've got our RAM. Everything's here, $1,203 to go up one level to play this at 1080p and 60 frames per second. You're looking at $1,528. This is for the minimum recommended specs. This is for medium. You medium level PC users out there, you get a cheap case, you get a decent motherboard, you get an RTX 4060 Ti, you get an i7. This is $1,528. If you go up one more level too high, you're looking at $1,645. All your parts are here. Again, this is over off Newegg. You get a mid-tower case. You get a Pro Series motherboard. You get a special Super Twin Edge RTX 4070. But if you want to go up to the highest level possible, if you want to play this game in 4K at 60 frames per second, you're looking at $2,362 before tax. That's with a $100 mid-tower case, a special Gaming X 1700 Intel SATA motherboard. You're looking at an MSI Expert GeForce RTX 4080. You're looking at a special Corsair PSU, an i7 14700 Coffee Lake processor. You've got G-Skill Ripjaw RAM at 32 gigabytes. That's 2 times 16. That's just for your dual RAM. Most people are going to bump that up to 64. And then you've got your liquid cooler PC. That's $2,362 to run a $100 game from Ubisoft.
Now, look, the video card alone was how much, Loki?
The video card alone was $1,099.
Now, so if you even have a decent system now, you're still going to have to drop another $1,000 to add this to your system if it can support it.
And, if it can support it, yes.
And so in order to play this game at the absolute highest possible specs, if you have an Intel-based system, we're not talking AMD at all. We're just going to pick out one. You're looking another $1,000 to drop on top of the 100 and change that you have to drop on the game alone. Loki, there's a disconnect here, I think, between us and like these people that are making the game. We've seen what they have to offer, and it's not much. The video quality on this game in 4K, which, to be fair, I've run the IGN video in 4K and everything that came afterwards. I don't know about you. Do you think that this game looks like it's worth adding another $1,000 to your system?
No, absolutely not. I've been doing benchmarks for a long time. Does anybody remember the Crisis benchmark back in the day? It was absolutely 100% authentic. Grand Theft Auto, when Grand Theft Auto 5 came out on PC, you needed a beast to run it. There have been games in the past that have been proven benchmarks that you need a really hardcore system to play. Those games were all fun though. They were all great. They were all groundbreaking. I don't see anything great or groundbreaking out of Ubisoft with Star Wars Outlaws.
Yeah, and I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous when the expectation is, well, I tell you what, the expectation is this. That's the expectation. Shooting into walls. Shooting into walls. Shooting into walls. That's not going to get it. You know, and look, we aren't picking on Ubisoft specifically. They're making it way too easy for us to show just how bad what they're giving us is. And just with this, I have the lowest possible expectations for this game, and I think so do the investors. The investors are actually asking questions about this game.
They want to know. They want to know what the future holds for this game. And Ubisoft's telling them. They're saying they're leveraging the Ubisoft engine. There's nothing leveraging the Ubisoft engine going on when they're requiring you to have a 4080 card to play it in 4K at 60 frames per second. Yeah. There's nothing leveraging about that.
No. The Anvil engine is basically allowed to run free with no optimization. And one more time, I just want to show you what you're going to get for the money you're going to spend. You're gonna get this, which is dumb. You're gonna get dumb. Okay, I want to tell you something right now. That's a barehanded backhand to a helmet. Let's watch it again. I don't think her hand's gonna work good after this. I think she's gonna feel it. Unless she has some magical force power or she's Wolverine or something, none of what just happened makes sense. Regardless, what also doesn't make sense, Loki, is the amount of money it's going to cost you to get the best possible experience for this game. I have a feeling you're going to have a lot of dissatisfied customers almost from the get-go. And if you pre-order this game, that's absolutely foolish. Wow. Anything you want to add to that, Loki, before we wind down?
I'm waiting for the console gamers' reaction to this. There's no way this will play at 60 frames per second on an Xbox One S, on an Xbox S. I don't see it happening, not in 4K. I don't see it happening on the PS5. I want to see console gamers' reactions when they load this up and they realize they're stuck in 30 frames per second and it's not going beyond that, and they've spent all that money on their console and their PS5 or the Xbox, and the computer players are the only ones who can play in 60 frames per second because they spent $2,000 on a computer so they could play this. I can't see anybody doing that. I can't see anybody in the future doing that. I can't see anybody now doing that. This is not a benchmark game. It is absolutely, positively an unoptimized mess that Ubisoft has created and is trying to tout it as the next benchmark game that you must own that will compare it to everything else. No, it's trash. It's unoptimized. It's not going anywhere. And I don't think this is going to do anything but turn people off that say, no, I'm not going to spend that much money for this.
Well, in fact, I'm going to leave everybody with one last reminder of how great this game is. It makes you feel like you're in an episode of Andor.
Nix, it's showtime. Hey, get that thing.
She punched a helmet.
Disturbance reported near the cargo bay.
Nix, put on a show.
599, get down there.
Any updates on the situation?
Hey, get that thing. Go away.
She shot him and the guy didn't do anything. He didn't do anything. He just stood there. Oh, what was that sound? I'm not going to turn around and look behind me.
I don't know what to say. All I know is this. For those of you who've pre-purchased this game, you might look at maybe waiting, maybe getting a refund and deciding after somebody does a legitimate review. Look, we could be wrong. This game could be perfect. It could be gorgeous. It could not require all of this horsepower. But I'm going to tell you right now, Tweaktown is seldom wrong. And, well, I feel like we aren't wrong either. Spend your money wisely, folks. It's you're headed into a rough economy. Anything else you want to add to the end here, my friend Loki?
Who's more the fool, Culture? The fool or the fool that follows Ubisoft?
Indeed. Look, folks, we always solicit your cooperation in the form of your comments. So look down below. You see the comments box. Tell us what you think. Do you think that this is a ridiculous expectation for gamers to have to get the maximum performance? Do you think this thing is going to stutter on console? Do you think we're ridiculous to focus on any of this? Well, I'm willing to be ridiculous. I think Loki probably is too. But hey, let us know your thoughts down below. And as always, game on!